Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you that has absolutely nothing to do with gaming. If you look down there below in the description, you will see that I'm in a totally different category. The green screen is down. This is just my room around me. There's no COD gameplay. And that's because the topic that I have to talk about today is too important to be a gaming video. And I know that we've had off days and off topics and always gaming in the background, but I'm just doing it vlog style today because I'm too pissed off and I can't be arsed to add gameplay to this video because I want to talk about masks and why you should be wearing a mask when you go out in public, because it's important not just for your safety, but literally for everybody's safety. I am being a little hall monitor. I am being the guy who does the group project by himself, a goody two-shoes, for the last 4 months before my state had even any quarantine going on. I realized this was a problem, and me and my wife have been under voluntary lockdown / quarantine, whatever the hell it is you want to call it. So for 4 months, I have not gone out to eat at a restaurant. I have not been to a bar, a club, a pool. I've socially distanced myself. I haven't seen any friends. I haven't seen any family. Haven't hung out with anybody. I've been ordering as little food as humanly possible. I do the Uber Eats and stuff a little bit, but we try to cook as much as we can. I've been wearing my mask every single day I go out in public, and I'm doing all the things that, you know, a socially responsible, decent person should be doing. And I'm watching the whole world burn around me of a problem that mathematically originally was predicted to be over with by now if only we followed the simple social distancing guidelines. And nobody, at least in my country and a lot of countries around the world, did it, it seems. It seems like people just didn't give a fuck, or at least enough of them didn't give a fuck. And now here we are, and I'm in Texas today. We just broke a new record of 10,000 coronavirus cases today. If you look at the graph, this is a giant exponential curve. I'm sure it'll be 20 or 30,000 a day in a couple of weeks. And it just fucking blows my mind that it's become a fucking political issue to wear a face mask and protect yourself, or to socially distance, or to choose living versus somebody making money in the economy. And this blows my mind. It blows my fucking mind that basic health and safety is a political issue. And we're going to talk all about that later. We got a lot to talk about today. But what I really feel like right now is I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I feel like I have lost my mind and woken up in the dark timeline of crazy town America. That's literally what I feel like. And the best analogy I can make is you've all probably had history in public schools. You've learned about plagues and diseases, most likely the Black Death or the bubonic plague that affected Europe. And all these like, hey, look, the plague doctors dressed like silly penguins and they put perfume in their nose because the bad smells are what causes the disease. And this group believed this, and this group blamed cats, and this was a religious issue. And some people thought if you drank blood, you would get cured and blah. And like, you know, we'll sit there in history class and laugh and be like, those silly barbarians, those idiots, those Philistines don't have any education whatsoever. They don't know anything about diseases. If this were to happen today in our modern time with our modern technology, we'd just bang it out in a few minutes. We'd all take care of ourselves and get vaccines. Fuck no, you wouldn't. The exact opposite happened. There are so many weird conspiracy theories going around, not just on Twitter, not just on YouTube comments, but like with people I know, family members and stuff, about what is and isn't effective with masks, about who is or isn't creating or controlling these things, and how they're secretly killing you or enslaving you or put microchips in you and weird shit like that. And the my rights people who really don't give a fuck when black people get shot in the face by cops, but are very pissed off about not getting headsets and being able to head haircuts and going to a bar and stuff like that, are out there just being like, I'm proud to not wear a mask. Fuck these masks. I'm not going to be a sheep. You're a sheeple. Goddamn sheep out there. Bah. And I'm like, no, it's not being a sheep. It's basic public decency. It's like washing your hands after you piss so that when you shake hands with the next guy, you don't get dick hands. But that's the reality that I'm in, and it's legitimately starting to piss me off, because the original projections were that quarantine and all these lockdowns and all this bullshit was supposed to be kind of wrapping up around now, that we're kind of, you know, supposed to be smoothing out. We're going to be kind of done with it, going to be opening up and going back to normal, and I can resume my normal life and do fun social things. But too many fuckwits out there just decided that coronavirus was a joke, and now it's exploding worse in America than anywhere else on the planet, as far as, except maybe Brazil. Brazil's totally fucked. Their president has coronavirus and he's still not wearing a mask and like blowing his germs at people and telling them it's a little baby disease and a joke. And it's not tremendously better here, but it is better here. Thank God I don't live in Brazil. But no, I really do feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. So we're going to start off with some actual science facts here today about these masks, and very simple, straightforward, basic, Googleable ones. And we'll start off with number one of, do they work? And the answer is, yeah, masks work. They're a little bit counterintuitive. So you see all these weird things about like the pores on the mask are smaller than a virus. So if you're breathing out virus, they'll just right through the pores and they're done. And that might be technically true if you were like blasting them out through a cannon or something, but the way that coronavirus and most viruses leave the human body is on tiny little drops of moisture in the air, droplets. You've probably seen all these little droplet studies, your snot, the stuff in your sinuses back here, your spit, because every time I'm speaking, I'm blowing out little tiny microscopic bits of spit. And what the mask is designed to do is to catch all that like air liquid, that moist air, and kind of keep that in the fabric, because the virus is literally embedded in that and very, very little in your actual like regular old O2 kind of air, you know? So that keeps it from spreading to other people. Now here's the weird thing. If you look at studies about masks and how much they protect you from getting a disease, it's not a tremendous amount. And that's going to be very seemingly counter to the whole message of today's video. Wearing a little cloth mask is not going to protect you from coronavirus. Will not. Big group of people, that mask ain't doing shit, especially if you're touching things. But here's the weird thing about the mask. It does stop you from spreading the disease to other people because it catches the droplets. So it's literally like vaccines or like herd immunity or maybe condoms in a sense, in that if you put a mask on, if you are infectious, and with a disease like this, something like 70 or 75% of people are completely asymptomatic, so they have no idea they're infected whatsoever, but those people would no longer be able to spread it to others, or that spread would be greatly, greatly reduced, and you have some minor layer of protection on your own face as a mask if we all agree to wear them. Just kind of like if we all agreed to get vaccines, but we didn't because some fucking stupid Karens on Facebook got into these weird conspiracies about chemicals in my babies, and all of a sudden we have measles and polio and weird shit breaking out all over the US, stuff that's been extinct for 100 years because people back then actually appreciated vaccines. And it's the exact same thing. Wearing a mask just by yourself does not protect you. I do not believe it protects me. I do not believe it keeps me safe. However, if I'm going around a giant group of people, say in a grocery store or any kind of store or wherever the hell it is you're going, getting food, pick up, and we're all wearing masks, that all means that each individual person is significantly less likely to be able to spread the disease to any other person there. So you do have a group or herd immunity. And I've read that as a whole, this could reduce infection rates by 80 to 90 or maybe even 95%, which I think is fucking awesome and something that we should be doing if it didn't turn into a goddamn political issue, because it's just so common sense. And I'm gonna swallow that pride just for now, and we're gonna move on to point number 2 of, do the mask actually hurt you? And the answer on that one is a very simple and resounding no. The masks do not hurt you. They do not make you sick. I've seen a lot of various weird conspiracy theories about how it'll cause you to get carbon dioxide poisoning because you cover your face and you breathe into it and all your carbon dioxide is trapped right here around your mouth, right? And you don't breathe carbon dioxide, you breathe oxygen. So if you let too much carbon dioxide build up, you will get some symptoms or get sick. I've heard people describing headaches, nausea, mental confusion, things like that. But that's just bullshit, to be honest, because you can't really get carbon dioxide poisoning unless you're suffocating, basically. Like, you really legitimately have to be suffocating. You get carbon dioxide poisoning when you stay underwater too long and you're a scuba diver and you really start pushing the limits of that tank, or when a whole mine collapses and you're stuck in this sad little room with 6 miners all breathing the same air for 2 weeks. It's when you lock yourself in the car and fall asleep and never wake up because there's no air. That's what carbon dioxide poisoning does, and you have to have a metric fucking shit ton of it. Actually, you know what? Here's the real thing about carbon dioxide. You can breathe about as much of it as you want, just so long as you get the regular amount of oxygen in your body. The air we breathe around us is not oxygen. Just science fact for all of you. It's like 70-something% nitrogen, and I want to say like somewhere 8 or 9% oxygen. I haven't looked up the exact numbers in a little while. You could probably breathe like 70% CO2 as long as there's just oxygen in there. But the reason people get carbon dioxide poisoning is because they're not getting enough oxygen in, because it's not available in a completely sealed and closed environment. And that's not what a mask is. You breathe out through the mask, the air and all the small particles and stuff come out through the fabric. It comes out the sides a little bit. There's plenty, tons of fresh air all around you to bring in nice, beautiful, juicy, delicious O2. And it doesn't make you sick. One of the easiest ways I could say is, okay, Well, if these things make you sick, if they kill you, if they're bad, then why are doctors and surgeons and nurses all wearing them? Are our surgeons dropping dead after doing one surgery? And I've had some people tell me, well, maybe not, because surgery is not that intensive. You're just kind of working with your hands, but going shopping is a much more strenuous exercise. Real person told me this, by the way. And that if you wear a mask while you're shopping, you could overexert yourself and perhaps pass out. And that's stupid. That's the height of ignorance. If you think going shopping, even if you're a professional secret shopper on a deadline, if you think that's more strenuous than doing an 8-hour fucking open heart surgery on somebody, then you're just an idiot. You can just go jump in a fire and I won't feel bad about it, because those are totally different things in terms of difficulty and stress on your body. I might even do a follow-up video for this. So my quarantine has been weightlifting every day. I've got not shit to do. I'm acting like I'm in prison. I'm lifting weights. I think what I'm going to do one day is put on the biggest, gnarliest, most restrictive mask I have and go stand outside in the 100-degree Texas heat and just go for burnout reps. Just bust them out one after another, and then run and see if I can possibly give myself carbon dioxide poisoning, because I legitimately do not believe that's possible, because there'll still be plenty of fresh oxygen around me to breathe in. The one that you're probably worried about, the one that you're probably afraid of and have heard the most about, is carbon monoxide instead of carbon dioxide. So I hope to God I haven't mixed those two up in the course of this commentary, because then some little shit weasel will get in here and tell me that everything else I've said is invalid because I don't know my chemistry, blah, blah, blah. But carbon dioxide is carbon and 2 oxygen atoms, and they bind together. It's relatively inert. It doesn't really interact with much in your body, lungs and stuff like that. But carbon monoxide is a carbon and 1 oxygen atom, and that's not super stable. It wants another oxygen, so it'll rip an oxygen atom off of almost anything to bind and make that more stable compound. In the human body, this is manifested in it pulling it out of your red blood cells, out of your lungs, your bloodstream. It basically slowly suffocates you and you don't notice it. Carbon monoxide is an extremely dangerous gas, odorless, colorless, smellless. You'll never know it coming. It kills people every year because we screw up our heaters and they produce it in the wrong amounts. But you don't make carbon monoxide by breathing, ever. Only carbon dioxide, which doesn't hurt you unless there's no available oxygen and you get plenty of oxygen from the outside environment. So that's just kind of nonsense. I do feel some empathy. Some people are agoraphobic, or not agoraphobic, but they have certain phobias about things touching their face, and that's harder on them. And there are some people that are asthmatic and that they would probably struggle to breathe a little bit in a mask, and that's harder on them. I still think it's probably better that they wear a mask, because if you think it's hard to breathe when you're just wearing a mask, imagine having coronavirus and being asthmatic. That would be fucked. And in a really honestly open real world, we should be able to say, okay, well, you know what? If you have asthma, then you don't have to wear a mask. It'll be fine, because 99 out of 100 of us are all wearing it, and that in and of itself gives us herd immunity and lowers the infection rate by a bajillion %, exactly like the way vaccines work. But we don't live in a real world. We live in a world full of fucking idiots. So just like vaccines, where people don't vaccinate and they're spreading measles to each other, if you were to say have a child that's immunocompromised, they got cancer, which does happen to kids, they got hurt in a wreck, they had to take some meds, they had some sort of genetic whatever. There's like 1,000 ways to get immunocompromised, okay? It's not really that hard to do. And your kid can't take vaccines. They can't, not until they're better. Well, then you go around the other people that just didn't, because fuck it, YOLO, my freedoms, and your immunocompromised kid is dead. And that's exactly what would happen and is happening with coronavirus, is that ideally we should all be wearing our little mask to prevent it from spreading to other people, so that people that do have real legitimate issues with these masks might not have to wear them, and it'll be totally fine. But everybody's special. Everybody's a goddamn snowflake. They're like, oh, it's itchy for me. I don't have to do it. I shouldn't do it. I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it. And then the people that have the bad problems get fucked, because in America, we have to put an absolute no mask, no service policy in, because everybody in the fucking world will try to find a way around it. I have seen people selling mesh masks, literally fishnet leggings over your face, the thinnest, saddest little openness, doesn't catch any droplets kind of stuff, to meet the bare minimum requirements of a store policy, so that if they make you wear a mask, you can put on this tiny little most insignificant little shred of mesh over your face that does absolutely nothing and lets you go in and keep shopping. And what's fucked up about that is it's an entire product line that does nothing but fuck with minimum wage people, because the people there at the front of the store that get paid dick all per hour and are treated by like shit by customers have to be the ones that make the responsible medical decision and say, hey, that's not a real mask, you can't come in and enter. And Karen's going to escalate this all the way up to the manager because her rights are being violated. And on that same topic, I see this fucking thing with the CDC, or no, the ADA all the time about like, I have a disability, I can't wear a mask, you have to let me in. Absolutely not. That is total horseshit. If any of you here are trying to do that, that is not legal, and that is not how that process works. Sometimes you can argue with people, sometimes you can bully your way into the store, but the basic idea behind this one is that the ADA has a ruling to where stores have to offer accommodations to people that have disabilities, and in almost all cases, you are not required to disclose your disability. This is how people buy emotional services ostriches or whatever, and they say it's an ADA ostrich, let it on the plane, and most people aren't like super up to date on their laws, especially in customer service positions. They don't know what to do, they don't want to get sued, they don't want to get fired, so they just let it go, and some dude with his emotional support coyote is riding behind you on a Greyhound bus. It's the exact same thing with this ADA compliance, except people are trying to do it with coronavirus. Now, the way the law is supposed to work is that if you have an actual disability that prevents you from wearing a mask, a real ass disability, the store can offer you an accommodation. And I've seen a lot of stores say, well, we do online shipping. I've seen managers come out and say, well, if you give me a list of your items, I will go purchase them for you, and you give me your credit card and we can check out, and you never have to go in. And it's never acceptable. It's never enough. It's always, I have to go in mask free to prove that I can do this for my freedom. And fuck anybody that gets coronavirus, because you don't know if you, I literally don't know if I've had coronavirus or not, because 3/4 of the people are asymptomatic. So what they'll do is they'll show up to the store and they'll be like, well, I have a disability. And the manager will say, well, okay, we can do this, this, and this. No, no, no. And the manager will say, well, can I inquire about your disability so that we can try to find an accommodation? And like, how dare you? You inquire about my disability? That's private. Shame on you. You should be ashamed. You're a bad person. And the guy's like, I got fucking state guidelines to deal with. I don't want my customers sick. I don't know how to deal with this. They don't pay me enough to deal with your ass, Karen. And that's the world I'm living in, and I cannot wrap my mind around it. I see things on the news, like in Alabama, they were having coronavirus parties where people were going to parties to see if they could contract corona, and that, like, to see if it would, I don't know, they got like prizes or something. Or there was this one mother who was really weirdly into anti-vaccine stuff, and she took her daughter, who had just recovered from cancer, actual cancer, to a coronavirus party in hopes to get her coronavirus and build up her immune system. The daughter then got coronavirus and went to the hospital because it got bad. And the doctors were like, okay, we need to do this, this, and this, and this injection and that vent. And anti-vax Karen, stupid ass woman is just like, no, holistic herbs and rub oils on people. Oh, put the oils all in. And she fucking died. I don't know how is that's not murder. I don't know why that's the timeline I live in. That's why, if I remember correctly, I read the FBI had a study recently, and they considered listing anti-vax people as a potential group of domestic terrorists, or that they could be more dangerous. This was before coronavirus. They had this little paper I read saying that anti-vaxxers could be more dangerous than actual terrorists, because in the case of a pandemic, they're primarily going to spread misinformation to the public, which will lead to more deaths than an actual terrorist attack. And that's exactly what fucking happened. We have 135,000 dead Americans now. That's like 55 9/11s, I want to say, some kind of number like that. It's like having 9/11 55 times. You're almost, if our death rate gets a little bit higher, we're going to be having a new 9/11 worth of dead Americans every single day. And every single day, I'm going to get fucking gawped at and made fun of and poked at and laughed at here in Texas because I'm wearing a mask. You know what? I mostly only go to Asian stores now because they're the only ones that are actually making people put their fucking mask on where it's socially acceptable. And the other stores, it's like I'm the dickhead because I'm making sure that I don't spread my diseases to other people. And this whole thing is getting stressful. It's like baffling. It's so goddamn mind-blowing. And I'm starting to lose faith in humanity in a very fundamental way. I'm going to kind of wrap this up with a discussion about cart narcs. I don't know if you've seen this little YouTube series called Cart, C-A-R-T, narcs, N-A-R-K. Not K, C-S, narcs, like a narcotics officer. But it's a series where a comedian goes around and criticizes people at stores that don't put their carts up. He doesn't get aggressive or anything. He just calls them lazy bones and, hey, I just noticed you didn't put your cart up. And like every single time, people flip their shit and want to fight this guy and try to run him over and swing at him and stuff. And he's just literally like, hey, you should put your cart up because it helps everybody. And I think that wearing these little masks on our face and not going to bars and parties is very analogous to putting your cart up at a shopping center, or maybe analogous to condoms. So hear me out on this one. And I have gone around on this one on Twitter too. If you don't put your cart up at Walmart or Target or wherever because you just don't want to, I think that makes you a fundamentally bad person. And you're going to say, whoa, dude, that is a really strong judgment right there for something so minor. Don't you think like murder, rape, or theft would be a good one? But it exposes a very fundamental selfishness in human nature, because as a society, we've all agreed that the little carts go in the rack. Why do they go in the rack? Because the guy who gets paid to get the carts can do it quicker and easier. And most importantly, and I've had to argue this a lot because I've had a lot of people tell me it's not my fucking job to put up carts and then we'll pay this little bitch boy to do it, some minimum wage. But if you just leave carts everywhere in the parking lot, they roll around, they bumble around, people push them, they bump into them, everybody's car gets scratched. If you don't put your little carts in the corral, you're running a much higher chance of getting your car scratched in a shopping center parking lot. So as a society, we've kind of collectively agreed to put them up so we don't get our car scratched and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, putting up a cart is like the easiest possible thing you can do. It is as close to nothing of a price that you could possibly pay. There's very few things closer to nothing than the 15 seconds it takes to roll the cart and even just get it kind of close to the rack over there, okay? Yet, it benefits everybody in the lot tremendously. Everybody gets their cars not scratched, safe, clean, no carts blowing around, hitting shit. So the cost to you is effectively nothing, and the benefit for literally everybody is there, but there's so many people that won't even pay the next to nothing price and just be like, fuck it, I didn't get hit today, I'm out of here, see ya, cart, gone. You can do the same kind of thing, a similar analogy with condoms or birth control. I think this one's a little bit more extreme, but not wearing a mask is basically like raw dogging it. No, you probably won't get AIDS, even if, you know, it's a science fact, if you have sex with somebody that's HIV positive, odds are not in favor that you're going to get that from a single contact. But your odds go way up if you're not wearing protection. Protection protects you from unwanted pregnancies. It protects you from, STDs. And it's not perfect. You can still get pregnant. You can still get an STD. But it's like 50-50 versus 99.9% safe. But people still don't do it. And it's the exact same thing with the mask. I think the mask is very similar to wearing a condom for your face. If not for you, for other people. It's just common decency. And I think I had probably a better analogy with the carts there. Putting a mask on your face is something so simple, a child can do it. Children can make these masks. As a matter of fact, if you bought your mask from anywhere in Vietnam, probably made by children in a factory somewhere who are also wearing the exact same mask. It costs nothing. It's simple. It's infantile. It's easy. A baby can do it. But there are people that don't do it because I don't like it. It costs me 30 seconds. It's scratchy on my face. I don't like the way I look. I've been told to do it and I have a problem with authority. And I think the vast majority of the people that aren't wearing their mask and are not social distancing and are out there just going crazy are people in that sort of category of not doing it, not because they have a medical problem, not because they have a disability, not because they're such strong, fundamental constitutionalists, but rather they just don't like little clothy fabric on their face. So fuck everybody else in this world. Fuck you if you get a disease from me. That's your problem. Get a better immune system, bitch. And that's it. That's the whole thing. And I just thought, I knew there would be some people, like, I live in America. I live in Texas. I'm in a fucking yeehaw state. I'm in a freedom state, okay? I know that people are going to be crazy. Some of them. I didn't think this many people would be crazy. I didn't also think that it would become a political issue and split our parties right down the line where somehow, like, Republicans are anti-mask and Democrats are pro-mask. There shouldn't be a political split on public health and safety. There shouldn't be a divide on doing something that's basic hygiene during an actual global pandemic. And this is one of those times where like I don't know, I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm sweating. I'm so pissed off today. I'm fucking sweating in my room. I don't even know what to say. That's how I'm feeling. You want a session of what's Drifter feeling today? What's he up to? Why is he so goddamn crabby on his streams? Why are the COD videos this and not? That's why, because every day I open the news and I look and it's just some horrible, crazy stuff of people not being decent, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't have a solution. I don't know what's going on here. Does anybody else feel like they've lost their mind? Has anybody else fallen in the dark timeline with me? If so, you could subscribe and let me know what you think. Drifter out.